What up, y'all? That's your girl, Jess. Back with another one. We're gonna dive into part 7 of Get Better in the Bedroom series. And this one is gonna be a juicy one. Wow. Yeah. No one specifically asked me for this video, but based on my experience and being a big part of the community, involving myself with many women in my past, and in my surveys and in my training and in my studies, I've noticed that this video needs to be made by me specifically, for my own benefit really, but also for yours. Now everybody has their own definition of what a true eater really is, but I will give you a lot of baseline rules and a lot of standards that should be held when it comes to eating the cat. Send your boyfriend this, send your husband this, send your girlfriend this, send your situationship this. The reason I define myself as a true eater is because I just love to eat. I'm a true foodie, I love food, and coochie is food. You gotta look at it correctly. Now pause, before we get any further, you need to ask yourself something. If you're someone that thinks eating coochie is gross, weird, uncommon, something you just can't do, and if you're someone who likes women, or if you're someone who's interested in women in any capacity, I really encourage you to question your instincts there. My first argument to this is if you're someone who has given head to multiple men, cis hetero men, in your life, and you look at that body part and you're like, wow, it's beautiful. I love it. I want that in my mouth. And then you think that coochie is gross? We gotta talk. Stay for a little while. If you look at biology, coochie looks just like fruit. It looks like flowers. It looks like a lot of nature. Coochie is a part of nature. It literally gives birth. It has multiple functions, and it has all different types of flavors, sizes, shapes, and stimulation points. And before I get into this, if you're new here, this is coming from someone who used to be with men, who has given head to men. Hate to say it, but I've been there. But I've had way more opportunity with the cat, and let me tell you, it's a ride. It's a joyful, beautiful, amazing time. So back to my first point, if you're someone that does like to eat food, just regular food, you love to eat, you're a passionate food eater, you're probably gonna be good at giving head. If you haven't tried, that is a good sign that you are already ahead of the game. Now, a passionate eater is not just passionate about how good food tastes, but also the art of taking your time, analyzing it, taking in all the sensations, and even as far to say you're someone that respects both you and the food. You bless it, and you go out. You make that a priority for yourself. I'm just saying. And that's a great start to the formula of a great eater. If you're not much of a foodie, if you don't care about food that much, it does not mean that you're not good at giving head. I'm not saying that. There are people that just might have a little bit of a head start in the game, and I did when I first had my first coochie. When I had my first coochie and I got my mouth on there, that's all I needed. Game over. Everybody shut up. I'm gay. I'm so gay. I had a revolution. I feel like the universe exploded in my head. It just all hit me at once. And if you know, you know. The woman's fruit is top tier. Now, finding a good eater is the hard part. I need you to understand, they are not flocking around left and right. No, no, no. And I'm not gonna zone in on any type of particular lesbian or anybody that likes to eat coochie, because everybody's different, everybody has different talent. But I'm gonna start with the things that I know, if I see you before you even get there, that tell me that you're probably not the best eater or someone who's very passionate about it. Because we all know, if you're someone that has someone in your life that is a good eater, a passionate head giver, you're probably not going anywhere. You're probably a little stuck. And more than half the time, a lot of us might be in something toxic. But it is our lesbian trope. I hate to say it, it is how it is. Now, as we all know with women in general, a lot of us are attracted to a good mouth, a good lip to teeth combo, a nice set of juiciness going on, a nice long fat tongue, a particular wet mouth, things in that nature that tell us, wow, I feel like this would be a good time. I know for me, if I see a girl with really juicy lips, a really fat long tongue, a really nice teeth mouth ratio, it hasn't usually failed me. And that matters because a lot of us don't realize how much these parts really play into giving good head. And now you might be like, Jess, you don't have the juiciest lips ever. Trust me, I know. But I know how to use my mouth parts. And that's exactly why I'm a true eater, and I've had no negative reviews because I know exactly how to utilize my parts. If I look at you and you're someone who has particularly dry, small lips, you don't use them very much, the teeth to lip ratio is a little off, the tongue is pointy. I don't know why girls do this. It's very pointy, it's small, it doesn't go out very far, it has some residue, it doesn't look very hydrated in there. A lot of girls don't even drink water. All those things to me are little warnings of maybe this might not be the best head giver. I'm sorry to say it, but if you're here today, locked in on this video, listening passionately because you know you need to get better at giving head, I got you. Let's go over some anatomy. If we're looking at the fruit, right, we have the top button here. Then you have the inside, which has 2 different holes. The one on top is where the pee comes out. The one on the bottom is where the good stuff, the juice, the everything comes out of. We should all know this. This is the pleasure area. This is where we insert, and that could be tongue, fingers, toys, and everything else. You can do a lot with that, and when it comes to head, there's so many different ways to stimulate that. On the outside, you have lips. Those could be different sizes, different shapes, different colors. Everybody's is different. That's why I love women, because everybody's unique to their own. Now, if you're doing things right, when you get down there, it should be this juicy. It should be even juicier than this. It should be dripping. It should be moving, maybe pulsating. It should be yearning for that mouth. If you take a second and you look, not too long because nobody wants anybody to just stare at it, but if you just take a few seconds, give it some appreciation, know what you're looking at, know what you're working with, that's important. Now, some women have more pleasure with the top button rather than the hole, and some have it equally, some don't like one or the other. Everybody is different. It's so important to have this conversation before we get into it. I would really advise you not to give head unless you've had the discussion of either how they like things, what they do like, what they don't like, anything that'll give you some type of prerequisite warning of how to go down there. It's so funny because I'm not even sure how I made this look like an actual coochie by the time I got to this point, but this is how gay my natural instincts are. Now, I've said this before about the anatomy of this part in my last videos if you paid attention, but a lot of us don't realize that the size of this top button matters. If it's smaller, if it doesn't really protrude that much, if it doesn't have that much depth to it, if it kind of hides behind the curtains a little bit, it's probably gonna be a little bit more sensitive, and some people don't even like it to be directly touched. So again, this is why it's important to analyze, talk about it, and see what someone really likes. Some people also don't like penetration. Some people don't like anything in there, but they might like stuff around it. They might like different stimulations. They might like different patterns. And some like it when you just make out with it. So if you're the head giver and you get down there and this is your first time, you haven't really had many discussions, but you notice some of the things I just said, like maybe this part is a little small or it's like a little bit bigger than normal, take a mental note and then go about things slowly. Everybody I know, and so many people that I have been with, rush into the cooch. I need you guys to take your time. I literally just did an interview at our last pool party and I asked people, describe your favorite munch. And a lot of masculine women said, take your time. And I don't know if that's because a lot of us primarily date feminine women, and a lot of feminine women come at the coochie like angry rabid animals, like they've never been fed in their life and they just can't get enough and they can't wait and they just have no patience. I don't know if that's common for a lot of people, but I've noticed in my past specifically that has been very common. Ladies, listen, I love your passion, I love your enthusiasm, but oh my God, if I'm gonna take my time on you and give you a little bit of a warm up because I'm considerate in that way, because we haven't really gotten to this point where we're able to just rush into things, because if it's one of your first times, you should always be taking your time. Analyzing and seducing, foreplay, take your time, please. It's really not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna get up and run away. And like I said, the wetter it gets, the better experience you're gonna have off the jump for both parties. And 9 times out of 10, women are most comfortable with just laying on their back and relaxing, so that way they can just focus on holding your hair, getting a good view, all while being in a very comfortable position. I also prefer to just lay on my back. Getting into that position, a lot of times, if you're someone who's a little bit more dominant, or if you're leading and you wanna give them that head, it's important to lay them down. You know, maybe kiss them on the mouth, kiss them on the cheek, get to the neck, get down to the collarbone, get down to the chest, get down to the yitties, get down to the stomach, get to the lower stomach, get down to the groin, legs, inner thighs, maybe even some toes, back down the leg, around the stomach again, get closer, closer, closer until we do this type of motion, and then maybe introduce some tongue. When I say take your time, I mean it. Getting them stimulated, especially if they like nipple stimulation. A lot of times I found that women can be like ticklish on the inner thigh or like inner groin. And I know a lot of people think that like ticklish is like a good thing and like it's funny and I'm just gonna keep tickling you. I wouldn't advise that. If they say they're ticklish and you continue to do it, I know I wouldn't enjoy that. So just note it. You know, maybe make it a little bit more aggressive rather than so gentle and soft, because it's like a feather. And if you're too gentle and too soft, it can feel ticklish. But if you're someone who has a little bit more aggression, maybe grab the leg or bite the leg a little bit just to tease. That's probably your only other alternative to just avoiding the area completely. Because that's no fun if it's like a nice little area. Because one of my favorite parts on a woman when I'm about to go down there is like the inner thigh, the groin area. It's nice, it's like, it has a good little like warm up spot. A lot of people aren't able to access that spot anyways, so a lot of women aren't even used to being analyzed to that extent. A lot of women I know have just been with shitty people who just rush it and they don't take their time. A true passionate eater looks at their food. It smells good. It looks good. Let me look at it from different angles. Take your time. Show them how much you appreciate the fruits of their labor presented to your table. I'm talking about in it. Now, like I said before, one of my favorite things about coochie is how many different things you have, how many options you have to play around here. It's not just one thing sticking out at you aggressively, hard. It's gentle, it's soft, it's versatile. It has so many different ways you can hit it. And because of that, the longevity is there, the playfulness is there, the opportunity to present your creativity and your art is also there. And teasing and torture is also definitely there. If we're just talking about head specifically, we gotta keep the hands out of it. But talking about just eating, what I like to do is after I'm done taking my time, getting around, showing them how it's gonna go down, sometimes I don't even add tongue. I'm just doing little kisses, little nibbles around. It's nice in those moments when you're taking your time and feeling it out to see what parts are a little bit more sensitive. And also even just grazing. Like I'm not touching, maybe a little breath action, little moan. Don't forget your moans, the deeper they are when you're eating, have vibration to them. And the deeper your voice is, the more depth and oomph you have in your voice. It will translate energetically to your lips, vibrate the lips, and affect their stimulation. So after a good amount of teasing around, I like to start to hit the lips. I like to start to go around the lips, and maybe this is where you introduce the tongue. The tongue should come out and down. We're not doing a hard, we're not doing a pointy, we're not doing an aggressive. The tongue should be soft, fat, long, wet. I've said this many times and I feel like nobody is listening to me. Nobody wants to feel something poking at them sharply, hard, aggressively. They want to feel the softness. They want to feel the dance. If you've touched them before, they probably like the same kind of thing. A trace, a drag, a hold, an insert, a soft insert. You know, things that show them how much you are intentional with your touch. In these moments, your tongue is your fingers, okay? You have to get creative. And don't be afraid to try new things almost every single time. You should be paying attention to what they like and not think about what you think makes sense for you or what you like or what you're feeling. As much as it's important to enjoy it, you should be truly enjoying pleasuring them in the ways that they like to be pleasured, entirely point blank. Because if someone is opening their legs to you and presenting their very vulnerable parts, you have to respect that and give them exactly what they're asking for and what they want. Because nobody wants to have the review afterwards of someone that gave them selfish head, someone that didn't really know what they were doing. No, they want the person that gave them the best head of their entire life and they will never forget it. I want that to be your mission if you're someone that likes to please women. I'm so passionate about this. Clearly, because it's so much fun when you really understand the art form of all of it. So introducing the tongue, we're going out, down as long as we can. I know a lot of you can't really do that, clearly. So I would encourage you at home, I know this seems silly, but to just see how far you can bring it out and get down close towards your chin. Try to do it by pushing the back muscles of your tongue and using those, not the front muscles. And that's what makes it pointy, hard, and aggressive and not enjoyable. If you're using the back muscles, that's where the true muscles are, and they extend from your neck and your back. So if you have a strong posterior hold, like a good plank hold, that's why planks and working out is super important. You're able to brace all the muscles that need to be braced that link into the back of the tongue so that the front of the tongue can be smooth, soft, have longevity, and can do its job without having to push into it too much. These back muscles, it will allow the front to be soft and be able to move up, down, around, forward, back, waves, different figurations, and even flip upside down and do some crazy tricks. A true eater will make the receiver feel like they don't even know what's going on at one point. They will just feel so much goodness, so much stimulation, and so much wetness and softness that they don't know if it's your lips, they don't know if it's your tongue, they don't know what is happening down there. They don't even know where your tongue is or what formulation you even have it at some point, because it's just so damn good and you're paying so much attention to the things that they like. So back to what we talked about. Now we got someone who has a smaller area up here, right? You go down, you took your time, you made your way around, you hit the lips a little bit, you brought in the tongue a little bit, you tested the waters. You should always get, if you haven't used your tongue and then you've taken your time, you get to the point where you use your tongue, you should get so much praise, so much noise, something coming out of their mouth, their body language, anything. That first little gasp, oh my God, that's what we want. They want the little shock of the feeling of something so wet, so juicy. Because when you think about the anatomy, like I said, there's so many different stimulation points that are all linked together. So if you're doing your job, you're hitting all the different spots, sometimes different spots at the same time, if it's big enough, if you have enough skill to do that. What we love about women is that there's so many different pleasure points and so many ways to stimulate them at the same time that it will make them lose their mind. And that's exactly what you want. So we have someone with a smaller part. We got down to it, we did all the little areas, we felt it out really well, and now we're about to get to our first O. We're on our mission to get our first O, and you want many, many O's in this session. You need to make sure that not only do they get there multiple times, but they have different types of O's throughout the session. Make sure when you stick out that tongue and you start to really dive into it, I would always start with a make-out session. If you know how to make out, you know how to use your tongue, you know how to kiss on the mouth, take those same skills and apply it down here. And get in there. Your eyes might be closed, you might be open, you might be staring at them. Eye contact during this, so important. If you are someone that likes eye contact, you know they like eye contact. If you're already doing a lot and you're in the midst of it and you're looking at them in their soul, you're looking at them, do all the talking with your eyes because you can't do much talking down there. And bringing in the tongue, it should always be very, very wet. If you don't know how to make your mouth more salivated, if you don't know how to bring more spit, more liquid into your mouth, I would encourage you to figure it out before you get down there. Literally just take the time to see if you can develop enough spit to let it drip out of your mouth, because that is some next level freaky shit that people like. And I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, this is something that I actually had to develop on my own as a skill in order to get better at having a more liquidated mouth and to also produce it on demand if I need more liquid to put on there. So I would brush my teeth every night, years and years ago, and I would develop a little bit more salivation and then formulate it in my mouth, and by the time I was done, I would let it come out as if it was regular spit and then picture it landing on some coochie. You know, you would figure out how to aim it better. Don't even think of this as something corny or whatever, like think of this as part of your training. And we do this every day. You should be brushing your teeth. You should have your mouth hygiene done very well. And it's so casual, people won't even notice what you're doing because you should just be spitting like that anyways. If you're someone that's like, girl, I wish a girl would hakalugi on my shit, okay? And I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I've messed with girls who have messed with men who brought in those skills to coochie eating. And if you bring in your skills from being with cis straight men to this game and you start spitting aggressively, making noises like that, there's even different noises when it comes to eating coochie versus doing that stuff over there. There is a different sucking noise, there's a different moaning noise, there is different noises. A lot of girls who mess with men know that men like that sound of them like choking and sounding kind of desperate and like almost as if they're really dying, because that's what men love, right? They just love to see how far they can take things. But with this thing, it's not invasive like that. You're actually entering into it, which means you don't have to do all this extra stuff to please us, especially when it comes to the noises. I've had to even say it in conversation like, hey, next time you don't have to do that. And I keep getting distracted. But let's go to talking about someone with a small button up there. If they have a small button, the tongue is out, it's nice and juicy, it's wet, we drag it first, right? We don't just poke it, we come out and then we lift our head. So we're coming out towards the bottom first, we lift our head with it dragging, which means I'm not using any pressure to let the tongue move. It's just soft, flowing with my head and my chin. And I'm not doing all this shit. I'm not being aggressive with my head either. You don't have to do too much. It's not that much of a distance. Usually they're not that big. If you're someone with a big mouth, it says a lot for me because that means you have more surface area to work with. Yeah, you can hit with not too much moving that you have to do. Sometimes the button likes to be dragged up and sometimes the button likes to be dragged down. Sometimes they like it in circles, sometimes they like to be sucked, sometimes it likes a little flip motion, and sometimes it likes all of the above. But a lot of times there's people who only like certain things or prefer things more than the other. I know for me, in fact, I'm someone that likes it up. I like it when it's going up. I like to be dragged up. I know that. That's just a thing that I've learned about myself. I've noticed some women I've been with like it going down. If I'm dragging the tongue up, it's just gonna initiate the flip going down. The flip is something a lot of people can't even do and they don't even understand how to do it. A lot of people think that they have to use the front muscles of their tongue in order to flip their tongue, but that's not the case if you really understand the muscles of the tongue. Mastering those back muscles, I've been able to not only use that to help me flick it to go back down, using the muscles with your actual chin, pushing your head and then pushing it down is gonna help the assistance of the tongue moving. Because at that point, you really don't have to do much tongue moving. You just have to learn how to go from here to here without it hurting. A lot of women flick. Not a lot of people like a flick. They might like a flick, but honestly, I will give you a better flick option when it comes to that because a lot of people do like stimulation. They like vibrators, they like that feeling, but I guarantee you they will like an internal flip and a movement better than something that is external and is hitting them aggressively like this. Because again, it's more invasive, it's more forward and hard. I really gotta eat this because this starts just dripping all over my hand. We pulled the tongue out going down, the head is down. As we drag up, the flick is happening, but not forward flick like this and going out and up. As you come up, you pull the tongue back in your mouth a little bit, turn it up slowly, so that you just feel just a little bit of a flick, a little bit of a switch, and down again. Are you taking your notes? Do you have your notepad out? Because this is the important juicy stuff right here. So now we mastered the flick a little bit. We take our time with that initial one. We gotta see what they like more. If they react more going down, that's how you know. If they react more going up, that's how you know. If they react you going in circles, again, we are not poking and going in circles. We are keeping the tongue down, using the more surface area on the front of the tongue to make the circles. We're going around. I would love to give you guys more demonstration, but it's way harder to express what I'm talking about without something to press on. If I'm pressed on something with my tongue, then I'm able to use that to my advantage to then drag it around. The fatter, like wider the tongue is and longer and wetter it is as you move, the better that shit is gonna feel. So we experimented with the different patterns, right? And we were just staying up here. We're gonna stay up here and we're gonna get them to their first O up here. And most of the time too, if I'm trying to get them with just the O from up there, I will take my time. If it's not happening, I will start to adventure around, but I don't just tongue adventure around. I'm tongue, then lips, close, tongue goes in, tongue comes back out, lips open back up, do the same thing. That is a proper makeout session, and it feels the best. They're hearing a lot of noises because you're making it extra wet. You're making it extra known how passionate you are. Vocal affirmations, you can talk like this. If you're right here, you could talk. We could have a little laugh session if something is funny. Don't make it too serious. Don't make it too like aggressive or performative. This is about them, and you're trying to figure out them, right? And you're also trying to see if the things that they said match up to what's happening down here. 9 times out of 10, almost every woman I've been with, including myself, we love a good suck on that button. If you wrap your lips around the top button and you're not even really using your tongue, you're letting the tongue stay on the bottom down here. You can even have it a little bit outside of the lips. That adds almost like a third feeling with the lips. So now you have like 3 contact points hitting. You are able to grab onto the button, pull it away from the base a little bit, right? Same thing if you were sucking a nipple, right? And when you suck, it's not just about sucking in the mouth. You're using all of these muscles in your neck and again in your back. You're pulling it all in. And if you're able to widen your mouth, zone in on that part, keep the tongue nice and soft and keep the mouth very, very wet, you're gonna really suck that in. You could hold it. You can see how they feel about that. A lot of women, when they feel that first suck, will be like, oh, ooh. Ah, they'll give you a sign. You could even tease it and then leave it and then be like, no, I need that, or no, suck me, or whatever. Like, give them that feeling after they give you confirmation. You could try a couple and see how they feel. Notice their body language when you are eating. Notice if they're tense. If they're tense and they're kind of frozen, they're not breathing, they're not really engaged, they're like, you know, kind of like spaced out. This is the time where you stop what you're doing, you check in, you ask if they're okay, you ask them if they need anything, you ask them what they like, what they don't like not a full-blown conversation, but you check in. A check-in is part of consent, and every single woman likes to be considered. Consideration is so important because, again, this is not just about you as the eater. It is equally important to make sure that the receiver is feeling everything, feeling comfortable, feeling completely able to surrender without feeling like anything is gonna disturb them down there, because that is a very sensitive area. Not only do we like women to feel extremely comfortable, but we like to make sure that we don't have to do too much checking in and we can just continue our job. And we don't have too much doubts, we don't have too much disruption, we're just able to really dive in there. So say someone really likes the sucking. We don't want the sucking to be too aggressive to the point where if you lose contact with your lips and then the air leaks out of the side or wherever that you lose contact, it starts to make a really aggressive sucking noise. I do feel like it does kind of disrupt the flow a little bit, and it also isn't something you generally want. You really want to make sure that you're locked in, you're sucked on, and there's like no area for the air to really escape. That's how you know you really got that part all the way in there, engaged, and it's super, super wet. Again, you're not pulling any wetness from down there really if you're locked in up here, which means you gotta keep the wetness in the mouth, you gotta learn how to salivate more and continually do that. Not like soaking, but the wetter it is, the better it's gonna feel. The more general stimulation they feel from different parts, different areas, different things that you are doing, the better O that they're gonna have, because they wanna feel like, what the fuck is actually happening? I don't understand. It feels so fucking good. Because there's another thing about women that a lot of us don't like too much stimulation at once. We don't like it to keep going and not stop. There are women out there that really like it when you just hit the first O and then you make them O and O and O and they just keep going and they don't want to stop. But there are women who like the in-between. So if they get there, take a second, back up, admire your work. You just did that. You made them get there with no hands. You just sucked them off a little bit, you just kissed it a little bit, and you didn't even go further down. That's a really big achievement if you're able to do that, and if you're able to do that multiple times. Generally speaking too, if there's someone that does get there from just the top stimulation, that might not be as big as something that they will experience if you do make them get there with the bottom stimulation. A lot of people out there really do like that bottom area stimulated a lot more. They have bigger O's, and a lot do crave it after you hit their first O at top. And some people like it as soon as they hit their first O at the top, they want you to eat it. The juices, the fruit, they want that cleaned up, and they want that cleaned up passionately. I'm talking about licking it up, swallowing it, kissing it, and maybe sucking a little bit out of there to make sure that you got every last drip. Now again, back to my people who don't even eat. You might think that this is crazy, it's a little gross. That is a part of the eating. Clean that shit up. Do the work. Side note, if you're someone that hasn't really had many experiences with this person and you do find that this area might have a different odor, a different taste, it might be a little twangy, it might be a little off. As long as we know that they're clean, there's no problems with this, we've talked about it, we're safe, right? We have consent, we have all these things aligned before we even do this. Don't be scared of that first O. A lot of times women have to have that first O to kind of like release, especially if they didn't shower, they haven't had sex in a while. I know that sounds kind of gross, but if you're a true eater, you don't give a fuck, okay? You already know that that's just part of the program. It might taste a little different, but after they've had multiple O's, after you've gotten there multiple times, you will notice that the taste will get better. It will improve. It will start to taste a little bit less potent, and it will start to just taste just exactly how they taste, and everybody's taste is different. And I can't describe the taste to you. You just really have to go out there and experience that for yourself. Sometimes people don't even taste like anything. If they do have a taste, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Everybody has their own thing, but if you're a real eater, you're gonna dive in and you're gonna enjoy it no matter what. If you really did your job, you might have to get down there and do the cleaning up and then back up and wipe your face a little bit to show them how much of a mess they've made from the pleasing that you did. And a lot of girls love that. They're like, damn, wow, that was me? At this point, things might have escalated to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get down there. I'm ready to get them their bigger O. I'm ready to get the gold. A lot of times I found people that are a little bit more submissive, they like to just keep it going. They like to just keep the feeling going. They don't need a lot of breaks. They're down for you to just ragdoll them around. They kind of like that torture in a way where you're just not letting them breathe. And I will also put that under the definition of someone who is a true eater, because if you really are just so about that life and you don't need that much time in between, you don't need many breaks, you don't need to wipe, you just going, it just says a lot about the passion that you have for this. And this is what I'm talking about. So now we're down there, we're not using our fingers. They might really want us to, but we're still gonna torture them a little bit. Some of them might not even like the tongue inserted into that hole, but if you can get your tongue in there and they kind of like that, I've found that it is very strenuous on the tongue. It's not very easy. It can be really difficult to really keep it going, especially poking in and out, because you can't reach very far and you want to. You want to reach in there so far. If you have a really long tongue and you're blessed like that, I am jealous. But if you can really dive the fuck in there, because these muscles in here start to get really, really strained. My tongue has cramped up many times trying to really force those muscles. I'm also someone that has to strengthen my jaw because I already have an uneven jaw and I crack a lot. I have Team J issues. So if you're getting the best treatment from me, just know that I might be in a little bit of pain. And if people are like that out there doing their service and they're doing their thing, just know that they are very passionate about what they do because it's not easy. So you have an in and out motion, you have an around motion with the hole. You also have a suction. So say I'm doing this. The flat part of my tongue is down on the chin. I'm pushing on top of it. I'm not inserting. I'm just pushing the flat part on top of the hole and I'm pulling it away. Almost as if you're doing a suction like that, right? A lot of people like that. You will find that pulling away, the pressure, it's just a little bit. You're not really slamming. And if you put it on there and then you wrap the lips around and you pull, suck, while the tongue is flat on top, you're able to create a whole nother sensation of a feeling of pressure with pulling, which then creates that extra layer of suction and extra layer of sensation. And that usually has a lot of success in my experience. All of those things work, but what has had the most success in my opinion is when you're passionately eating it. Imagine you have everything that I just described combined. You're down there, you have their legs, you have a lot of grip on them, you're pulling their body into your face, you're pushing your neck muscles into it, creating a lot of pressure from pulling and pushing. You have a lot of surface area covered, you're turning the head, you have the tongue in there, moving around, in and out, sometimes around, pulled back in so you can suck more kissing, more noises, more aggression. Even sometimes I pull them and I turn them on their side and then I get in this way. And if they like their groceries eaten, you might as well go shopping and you might as well continue it. If you're dealing with someone that likes both the front all the way to the back, stimulated, they're in for the motherfucking ride, because then you can have so much more to work with. You can pull them. If you're on the side, you can go all the way up. You can eat the groceries. Again, we're doing the same motion we did on that same hole up in here. Make sure it's clean. Make sure you keep that area clean if you plan on getting any type of stimulation in that area. Oh my God. If you feel or smell anything, do not adventure. It's okay. Make sure you, as the eater, are protected, okay? It should not taste like anything. It should be very clean and well maintained. You have the sideways position. You can even flip them on their stomach so that way they're all the way flat down. You have the booty in your face. You're eating it all. You can pull their legs up just a little bit so they have to arch a little bit more. You get in there even more. You can make your head motions to help with the assistance. The passion and aggression has to be at its peak at this moment. If you are this far in and they like it like that, yeah, you have to put all of the cards on the table, including keeping it very, very lubricated, very, very stimulated. The hands are doing a lot of work. You can even stop, you can smack it, you can get aggressive with it, you can take your time. You could flip them back. One of my favorite ways to have a woman, if they're very, very submissive, is to have them on their back. Their legs are pinned towards their ears. You have your pressure on the back of their knees. You're pushing them. Their butt is being lifted. They're flexible enough to do this. They like to be folded up like a pretzel. You are able to rock them as you keep your tongue flat, and you are pushing everything as you are eating. I'm talking about front to back. Not only are they feeling that sensation of being very submissive and being pushed and tossed around, but they have all the surface area being hit in one fluid motion. So we just took it from just the button with that motion to the entire front and back. You can rock them and suck the entire thing. You can rock them and kiss on the entire thing. And as we all know, people have talked about the alphabet, literally spelling out A, B. I've tried that in my baby gay past, but I feel like that adds more thinking into it. And if you're overthinking the process, they're gonna know that you're overthinking and they're not gonna enjoy it as much. I guarantee you. They're just able to literally let go in the moment and everything is just happening. That's exactly how you know you're a very good eater, when you're not thinking. You're able to read their body language and they're shocked. And you really didn't have to have much conversation to get to this point. Now, advanced motions from there is obviously, you got your mouth on it and then you got your fingers in there and then you're doing way more stimulation. If you're doing it right and there's someone that is a water park and you know that and they've said that, this is probably the time that this is going to happen. You're sucking, you're kissing, and you're also stimulating, and then you could get to a point where after they've gone a couple rounds with the water, like, it is very messy. You could take your mouth off, put some pressure on, go even crazier, and that'll probably create a flood in the house, wherever you're at. We're gonna stop it here. I don't wanna give away everything. And just take note, a true eater also does aftercare. Aftercare can include a multitude of things. Do you need water? Can I get you a towel? Do you need to use the bathroom? How are you? Let's cuddle. We love a good cuddle afterwards, especially lesbians. Most of the time, lesbians are done not because they can't keep going, but because they're so damn tired and they decide to take a break. They cuddle and then they fall asleep and they wake up and they realize, damn, that's usually what happens, and that's usually how it stops, because women have no stop button for the most part. We don't dry up, we don't get limp. We didn't even mention riding, toys, all the other things that happen here. This is just head. And this is why I'll forever say that lesbian sex is just top tier, but I'm just biased or whatever. And make sure you guys know that aftercare also includes talking about things. Not maybe in the moment, not maybe just after, but maybe by text, maybe by phone, maybe before the next session. You guys talk about, hey, did you like that? Are there things you didn't like? Are there things that you've liked in the past that you would like for me to try in this situation? Like, really try to have a mature overview of what you did and really show them that you are really passionate about this. You care about them. You want them to feel the best they've ever felt down there. And just know, we just talked about just laying down. There's also, if somebody's standing, someone's on their knees. We didn't talk about riding face. We didn't talk about the Spider-Man. Just know that all these details are the basic starter pack of giving good missionary head, making sure that person feels good from start to finish. So I hope you took your notes. I hope you really enjoyed my little peach demonstration. And You know, just know that there are way more things to this series that I will add, but you know, I gotta keep some things for myself. Also, if you stayed this long, just know that I have 2 trips out right now. I know this is totally unrelated, but if you've ever wanted to travel, you are a woman or anybody in the community that likes to travel, please hit up the links in my bio. I have Brazil and Thailand on my trip itinerary for 2026. We are going to Brazil in February, and we are going to Thailand in October. I still have spots available. If you use summer 25 for the Brazil trip, you will get 25% off until the end of July right now for the Brazil trip. You just have to put down your deposit. We are going to Brazil in February for Carnival, the biggest carnival in the world, okay? There's so many things on those itineraries. Please check them out. I got so much more exciting things coming for you guys, but I really appreciate you guys for always tuning in, sending love, showing love. Drop your hints and everything down below, any questions you have. I love y'all. Peace. Let's make girls come again.